All right, am I good to go? I think it's working. What's up, everybody? It's Shack Central. It's been a while. I wanted to get this out as soon as possible, which means there's basically 12 hours to go or something like that until until the Endless Delve event. So really not as soon as possible. But yeah, I wanted to give a quick explanation for what was going on with PoE over the last month, why I just suddenly stopped putting out the videos, as well as what my plans are for Endless Delve. And it basically boils down to, as far as the Lighty Challenge videos and the stuff that we were posting before, I basically just PoE stopped working. I had a solid month. It was almost exactly a month, like to the day, where I would click PoE, it would spin up, and then it would just crash. There were like two different spots where it would do it. It would do it while it was loading, like the little loading window, and then it would do it like halfway through the grinding gear games animation. So it took 3 complete game reinstalls, but as of about 2 days ago, it's working again, which is great. I got to test it out in the Mayhem League very briefly. I think I'm technically eligible for like the lowest tier prizes in the Mayhem League, but that's it. But it worked well, so I believe I should be good to go for Endless Delve, and then to continue on in the Heist flashback, get more Lighty Challenge stuff up. So I'm really excited about that. That being said, we got to talk about Endless Delve. It's happening tomorrow. Technically, it's before midnight for me right now. By the time you see it, it won't be. So it's happening today. So by the time you see it. Basically, the Endless Delve, if you don't know about it, I would assume if you're like a PoE person, you know about it, and you're either super pumped or you are not about this at all. But if you like playing Vortex, this is like the perfect event for Vortex. So obviously, I'll be playing it. I'm going to try to push it as far as I can get it. And I want to go over the build. If it's being tweaked, it's being tweaked slightly. There's going to be more tweaks than you think forced on you because of the limitations of Delve. But we're going to take a look at it together. I will put a link to this POB. I'll save it so that it doesn't mess it up, which I forgot to do, but I'll put a link to the POB in the description so you can see this. It is bare bones, but I'll show you. I've got 2 trees. I've got a couple items I want to talk about and a couple skills I want to talk about. And we'll take a look together at what it's going to look like. So that being said, let me swap to a much smaller me. I'm just going to leave it there. This is where I typically have it when I make when I stream. So I'm going to leave my camera. You know what? Let's drag it over here a little bit. Whoop, just let me slide over right here. There we go. Right in the little empty box. Okay. So there's 2 ways I think that's realistic to play Vortex Occultist in the Endless Delve race. Maybe I should even back up and just say, so the way that the Endless Delve works, we'll get into some of the restrictions, but when we say Endless Delve, we mean only Endless Delve. You do not have access to towns. You do not have access to the campaign. You do not have access to your hideout. And just take a second, think through the implications of not being able to access your hideout. We'll get into it. No trigger crafting. You will not have trigger socketed spell. But that's okay. So all you're doing is delving. You're going to get tons of fossils. You are going to be able to go sideways down as far as you can or want or are able to push yourself. And because of the way that that works with not accessing towns or hideout, the league is SSF. You have to play either SSF, which for those who don't know means solo self-found, or hardcore SSF. So essentially, no partying, no trading. Everything you have to find, craft, make, get lucky with yourself. That's it. There will be no trading. You're not saving up your currency to buy any items. So 2 ways to play this, in my opinion. There is no life version. I think that it's just pure life that's going to get you where you need to be. So the first way is a life and energy shield hybrid. If you look on the left, it's got about 200% life, which is very nice. And it also has almost 100% increased ES. The ES is kind of incidental. Excuse me. Maybe my voice is going away just in time for this, which would be great. Basically, almost all the ES on the build, if not all of it, is like incidental that is there because of life. So, for instance, right here, melding, where you get energy shield and life with the node, we're taking it because of life, but having ES stacked on top of that is going to be great. It's going to allow us to make a nice little hybrid there. So, Yeah, I think almost all the ES is from that. So basically, we're going to be splitting we're going to have a combined health and ES pool. You're going to just be getting a lot of life throughout the tree. And one thing that is notable, so you all know it if you've played Occultist before, Vile Bastion, you regenerate percent of your energy shield per second based on how much you've killed recently, which is in the last 4 seconds. So as long as there's a bunch of enemies around, for the most part, you're going to be getting 10% energy shield regeneration a second from Vile Bastion. It's pretty good. We'll talk about Wicked Ward because that's a CI specific thing. But the reason I think you can get away with not taking Wicked Ward in this build is because we're going to take Zealot's Oath. So life regen is applied to energy shield as well. So you'll be regenning 10% of your ES a second. In addition to that, so the sources of life regen that we have, you have Shaper, so 1% ES regen per second. So assume you have the 10%, you're going to go to 11% a second. You're going to go over here. We're going to get, it's this middle one, so 0.5. So now you're talking 11.5. This is 0.4, 11.9 is where we end up at. Another 0.8 puts you at 12.7. I can do math. And then another 1%. So you're talking like 13.7 around there percent of your energy shield just being regenerated a second. It's really, really nice. It's going to make it feel very smooth. Because of Wicked Ward, it's going to be the full 13.7% or whatever, as long as you're hitting that 10% mark. It's not going to be cut in half, but that does mean if you get hit, it's going to stop. So you need to be really careful about your defenses. Be on top. Use Endless Delve as a chance to practice your dodging, your manual movements, your skirting around danger, all of that. Use it as a chance to practice that. And and also, sorry, quick recovery. I knew there was one I missed. Quick recovery. So that's another 0.8. So what is that? What did we end up at? 13 points. So it's, almost 15%. As long as you have the Vile Bastion all the way up, almost 15% of your ES per second just ticking up constantly. Really nice. Couple things to note as well. Holy Dominion is going to give you some Ellie resists. Ellie resists are going to be huge. We'll get into that in a second. But as much as you can realistically pick up on the tree, it's going to help a ton because our Ascendancy does not, where is it? So we give enemies minus cold. We don't get resistances. So we dish out minus, but we don't get any. So Dominion will give you 12% to all your resists. So that's like just a free 36% there. Not free, it costs points, but we're going to get 15 from Frostwalker. We're going to get 5 from Cruel Preparation. I can actually feel my voice starting to go, so I'm trying to be very careful to enunciate. And then down here, we'll get 4 from this wheel. You get 4 from that wheel. So a good amount of resistances on the tree. And then it's pretty much what you'd expect from a life hybrid Vortex build. We're still picking up Breath of Rime, still picking up Fingers of Frost. We still want Arcane Swiftness. This is a wheel you could play with. Both of these trees are to level 90. Basically, you're getting up to 113 points. So they're basically level 90 trees. You can get the shield wheel if you get above 90. If you get some jewels, there's a jewel here, there's a jewel there, there's a jewel there. There's some very nearby jewels that are very, very easy to get. If you get lucky enough to drop a Shavs, I'm not even going to discuss that, but, that's a chance that could happen to somebody. So, yeah, we pick up some damage there because the regen and the damage work so well together. If you've got enough life and you don't feel like you're in danger, you can drop the 0.8 and pick up some nice 24% dot over there. And then obviously we take the big Constitution wheel since we're down here anyway. This is another viable thing to grab if you're going to get above level 90 or you want more energy shield. So this is the Life ES hybrid tree. It's pretty standard. This is a bigger deal than you think, and you probably want to start picking this up right about when you're hitting the map tier monsters. This is your only source on the tree of, I believe, should be your only source on the tree of, it is, of chaos resistance. So pick that up. It's going to be very helpful until you swap. If you end up swapping to CI, chaos res is going to be freaking hard to come by. So keep that in mind, and then we'll go down here, right there. That was really weird. All right, so here's your CI Delve tree. It's pretty standard. It just doesn't take LE Equilibrium because we're not going to have the trigger skills. This is kind of theoretical. You can do this if you want. This is just going to give you a few more layers of defenses. If you don't want to take this, you can always go down here for the LE resist. You can go over here. Oh, no, you don't need to go over here because we're chaos immune. You can take more of the, that's where I was going with that, more of the energy shield nodes. You could even take a little bit more mana regen. You could take the Ash, Frost, and Storm. There's a few things because we've got points that we're not taking. Because of a few of the delve restrictions, you have a few points to play with. You can take some more mana regen over here. You can take let me turn off show node power. There was one I was going to suggest and I totally forgot where it is, but that's okay. And like I said, if you get jewels, there's jewel slots all over the place that you can use. You have kind of a lot of options. This is a very unknown, very build skill testing, on the fly adaptation intensive event. But I think that this is a good all-around CI tree. You're looking at 225% increased ES with the opportunity to easily push that further up toward the 250% mark. It's just a good tree. It's a good build with a good solid tree that's been solid forever. I really highly recommend keeping Vile Bastion. You're going to want your defenses as you push deeper and deeper. So this would be the Ascendancies to pick for both builds. I highly recommend if you feel safe and you're pushing early on, if you get a couple good drops, it's viable to take this super early, but with your first Ascendancy in general, Vile Bastion is going to help you be able to go further, faster without feeling like you're living on the edge too much, and especially if you're playing hardcore, I would take this. I'm planning on playing the softcore. I'm kind of competing with a buddy of mine to see who can get deepest. So we're going to go softcore, but if you're hardcore, definitely take it. And yeah, these three first, and then as you hit Profane Bloom at the Uber Lab level, which is so nice you don't have to do trials for, this is going to help a lot later on, but you don't need to worry about that early at all. It's just whatever order you want to take these in, if you want to be more tanky or get to your offense a little bit faster. So that's the tree. I just want to look briefly. These two skills, you're going to have a few skills available because you can't get the trigger craft. You can keep a few different skills in your wand. You can keep a Frostbite to cast manually. Ideally, we get Frostbite on hit on one of our rings. If you can find them, getting because you'll be able to target like certain delve nodes, just be delving a ton. You can find in the cold nodes, I believe. I'm not an expert, so I'm trying to give you the right information off the top of my head. But in the cold nodes, I believe you can find Frostbite on hit rings, and finding I can't remember the other one off the top of my head, but that's okay. These are some other options to put in the wand slot in place of like Frostbomb, Stormbrand, whatever you're going to be using that you're not going to trigger anymore. Corpse removal is going to be huge. So Devouring Totem consumes corpses, leeches life back to you. Void Spear is another one that sucks enemies in. Really good for crowd control if you get overwhelmed in like one of those tier 3, stage 3 Azurite events. Stuff like that is going to make Void Spear feel real good. But those are both a couple of corpse removal options. As a reminder, you will not have Pantheons. Do not select Pantheons. Do not plan for Pantheons. You will not get Pantheons. And just like that, you are taking the 2 passive points. There's no way to get a different bandit reward. So don't worry about changing any of these. Now, common unique drops that will be helpful. Keep your eye out for these. The number one, obviously, being Rhyme Gaze, because it's like the thing that you would put in the build anyway. If you find a Rhyme Gaze, use it. This is going to be amazing. They're very popular drops, so there's a decent chance you may find one. But there's other ones we want to look for too. So the Beast Fur Shawl is a huge amount of ES early on. It's a pretty good one. It doesn't. So what you're going to notice as a common theme with a few of these is you're going to really have to put a lot of resists in your other gear. Resistances are going to be the biggest thing you're going to have to work your gear around and work into. So the Beast doesn't have those resists, but the Beast is so nice for damage. It has a lot of ES. And I feel like I get 1 to 2 of these pretty much every league. So you may be able to find one. It's worth looking into. There are a couple of boots. Sin Trek is really nice. No leech. It's got some attributes, which is very helpful. You get the 30% move speed, which is so nice. And if you're going to go acro phase acro, it's got your evasion rating. No resist though, and that's where Rainbow Stride comes in. Rainbow Stride is really nice. Spell block gives you mana regen on the tree up here. Mana regen per 1% spell block, so that may as well read 5% spell block and 5% mana regen. You get more mana. It's got okay energy shield. It's got pretty good movement speed, but it also has a lot of resist, so it's really nice. Again, it's a fairly common drop. It's another one that you see a lot. This is obviously not a unique, but this is a reminder. Amulets will drop with anointments on them at map level, so just keep an eye out for good anointments. There's lists on the Vortex guide, but keep an eye out for some good anointments, because there's a chance with how tough gearing is going to be that a bad amulet with a good anointment, if you can find an amulet that's bad except for a couple resists with a good anointment, could carry you pretty far. Baited Breath is pretty obvious. It's really good. It's another one. Just watch your resists, but it's a very nice chain belt that could carry you through the entire event. And then the flask to keep an eye out for, Rumi's Concoction, is obviously the best flask in the game. Keep an eye out for it because it will help you out a ton. Witch Fire Brew is also a nice one that you can use if you find it. It's, again, good also with Acro and Phase Acro. It can take the place of your actual Stib Knight. But yeah, it's a pretty good one, and that is pretty much all that's in the POB. Like I said, it's bare bones. It's just to get you going, give you some ideas. You can modify it and tweak it from there. And then just a couple things I wanted to point out here. As far as the starter gear, the sword is so good early on. So one of the issues that you'll find early on in Delve is you're going to run into trouble if your Cold Snap is down. If you run out of Frenzy charges and you can't cast Cold Snap, you're limited to only killing the things right next to you with your Vortex, and that's going to be a problem. This gives you more max Frenzy charges, and the chance to gain a Frenzy charge on kill is so sick, combined with Cold Snap's natural chance. Obviously, Vol Cold Snap generates them on its own, but this is probably the best sword to use for the first good bit of the game. It's going to help with your movement speed. It's going to give you the AoE on your Vortex, and getting the Frenzy charges to keep Cold Snap up is going to be amazing. You could run 2 of these. You could also vol them. Again, you can make more and more characters to just get more and more copies of stuff like this, so you can vol them. And you can get, let me think, I think you can get AoE on the vol, and there was something else that you can get that's pretty good. But these are worth getting and voling if you want to try for some cool implicits. So this sword can carry you pretty far. This is decent, the mana regen, free shock and ignite wand, but this sword is where it's at. So make some characters, grab some swords, and play around with them as you get started. And then finally, just wanted to go over a couple of real quick things on the Reddit primer. So if you want to swap from the Life ES hybrid build to CI, you do get all these respec points. Just save them. Every 10 levels, you're going to get the respec points that you would normally get in the campaign. So save them up and use them for your swap if you want to swap. Couple of things here. So you still obviously have your ring recipes that you would normally use while leveling through the axe. If you can get your hands, one thing to keep in mind, if you can get your hands on an eye level 2 Driftwood wand, if you can get them on eye level 2, you have a much, much higher chance of being able to roll +1 to cold gems. The thing is, it's limited usefulness overall, because part of the strategy with that is to get a +1, get another good roll, and then use your crafting bench to get the third roll. So you would want like +1 cold and cold damage, or +1 cold and spell damage. And then craft the other thing, or cold dot multi, and craft the third damage thing on with the crafting bench. You don't have the crafting bench this time, but it's still a viable strategy if you're going to be able to get those nodes at eye level 2 and just farm a few Driftwood wands to use. Chuck some alts on them and see if you can get your +1 level and maybe like a spell damage roll, something like that. That's going to carry you super far. Another important thing, we can use a Jade Flask and a Granite Flask, so be advised and check the Reddit out. This is posted at the top of the PoE subreddits, the Endless Delve Primer. You can make Jade Flasks and Granite Flasks. Don't forget there is a vendor recipe for them. So you can make them All you need is one of these flasks with the certain suffixes. All three of these flasks with the suffixes. I didn't want to mislead you there. Almost said the wrong thing. You trade them in and you can get these flasks. So it is an option. Again, can't craft resist, so this is worth keeping an eye out for in the filter. I would recommend making your own filter, just because there's so many things that you don't need to see. You can hide all the maps. You can hide all the prophecies. You can hide, if you're going to only play one build like me for the whole time, you can hide everything that's not ES gear. You can hide all gear that has armor on it at all. I don't want to see it. You don't want to see it. So just keep in mind your filter can be super customized for this event. This is a good point, trying to target armor nodes to look for resistances to keep those up, because that's going to be a killer, especially if you're playing hardcore. Okay, so a couple other things. Again, you can only pick the +2 passive points from Bandit, which is good. That's what we want, but you cannot craft the trigger craft. That's a big one. Just keep that in mind. It's not game ending. It's not earth shattering. It's just you can't craft it. So just be super careful about that. There was, I think, one other thing I wanted to mention. No cluster jewels, so don't worry about finding like mediums. You're not going to be able to get the ES regen on kill. You're not going to be able to get the cold dot multi from your cluster jewels, because you will not get cluster jewels. So have fun with that. If you get lab enchants, like enchanted fossils, things like that, put them on your boots. Make a good pair of boots with a good enchant before you start throwing things into your helmet or your gloves, but mostly your helmet, looking for Vortex or Cold Snap enchants or anything like that. Make sure your boots have a good lab enchant on them. It's got good advice on what to hide on the filter, but that's pretty much it. So the nice thing is we have so much corpse removal anyway. We freeze and shatter on a timer because of we're occultists. We also have Profane Bloom, so we can explode enemies that are cursed. And again, like I said, so this is Devouring Totem, and then Void Sphere. I keep saying Spear. Void Sphere. Good ways to get rid of enemies. Enemy corpses. So we go CI, so we can deal with the Chaos Zombies. Again, you still want phasing, so you want a Quartz Flask. You can run Phase Run if you don't find one for a while. But it's a really, 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 really good idea to still don't skimp on your phasing. It's going to be important. And then there's more things you can read here, references and all that stuff. That's pretty much it. That's what I wanted to share. I am doing the Endless Delve event, and I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be really, really, really fun. And now that I can play PoE again for the first time in a month, I'm super excited about it. I've had a couple people reach out about asking where I was, asking like how the baby was doing, hoping nothing was wrong with the baby and stuff. Everybody's doing great. It's just I could not load up PoE, so I was playing Factorial for a while and just hanging with the family. I'm super happy it's back up, and I'm looking forward to seeing you guys in Delve. If you have any cool, unique ideas on things you can do with the build in a Delve-only environment, let me know. If not, farm up those frigid fossils, those dense fossils, and we'll see you guys down in the depths.